Good afternoon, everyone. This is Teacher on the Radio, your weekly Tuesday morning host on 88.5 FM WTTU The Nest. But it's Tuesday afternoon last week, and we are pre-recording an interview segment for the 503rd edition of the Teacher on the Radio program. We're into our 19th year, and only for about the last 19 months, I guess, or so, have I known our guest today. Our guest today is Brielle. And Brielle is a local entrepreneur, curator, creative person, businesswoman. And I don't know how long ago it was, but they had a place called the Corner Market, which was down in the Spring Street district, right across from the pizza place and the coffee place, and a friend of the show, Marilee, it's art studio and Picasso down there. And it was just such a cool vibe. And that store went its merry way, and it had a sunset, I guess you could say, and it was a few months off, and Brielle completely revisioned everything and has recently opened just late this summer right by our beautiful campus. I mean, just literally, I could practically, from the studio where the radio show goes out every Tuesday morning, we could get to Brielle's store in less than 5 minutes. It is walking distance for all my Tennessee Tech colleagues, students, and staff and friends, and for everyone in the neighborhood. So, Brielle, why don't you just tell us exactly what University Vintage is, and also tell us exactly where it is, and maybe tell us like what it is. So, and
Yeah.
when it's open, just all like the very basic stuff.
Sure. So, University Vintage, it's a really unique shop. It's kind of collectively made up of different vendors that share a love for vintage items. And we carry everything from like vinyl, vintage T-shirts and clothing, accessories, toys, VHS, all just basically all things vintage, a little bit of everything. And then we're pretty much right on campus. It's the green building. We're up the back stairs in the green building above University Salon. It's right in front of any T's, across from House of Thai, and then behind the Pizza Pub. So we're right there on North Dixie Avenue, kind of right in the middle of everything. And we're open Wednesday through Sunday right now. So we're open 5 days a week. On Sundays, it's 12 to 4, but all the other days are from noon to 7.
Uh,
So
so, all you with the poor person's parking pass, you have to walk down 8th Street anyway because you parked off campus. You're going
yeah.
to walk right by University Vintage. You're going for lunch at House of Thai, which is a very popular lunch and dinner place for all my friends. You're going to be literally right there. If you're getting a coffee at Soulcraft, you're going to be right there. So starts on Wednesday at noon to 7 through Saturday, and then on Sundays
Noon to 4.
noon to 4.
Yep.
So this has been kind of your lifelong love, even though and I can't tell you, having worked with you before, by the way, full disclosure, Teacher on the Radio is one of her many vendors, and I share with a wonderful person called Rock and Roll Salvage, also known as Trent, who's also really involved in a Facebook community called Always Go to the Rock Show, and he's got another Facebook community for March Madness. He's just a cool all-around guy. Anyway, we have mostly albums, some books, posters, and other rock and roll styled things in the front room. And I've been, I'm really having to up my game to keep up with you all, with you and Trent and everybody else, how cool the new store is. But in our friendship and our collaboration over the last couple of months, I've learned that you kind of have like a passion and like a vibe, and there's like an aura and an ambiance to the whole thing, and it comes from something that you've had your entire life. So maybe tell me and our listeners a little something about when you were growing up and how you kind of caught the bug for this style of stuff. Maybe hobbies or loves related to clothes and toys that you had growing up, and what's your origin story for University Vintage?
Yeah. So whenever I was growing up, my grandparents, pretty much on both sides, they were collectors. Specifically on my mom's side, they actually like had their own antique store. So I pretty much just have always been surrounded by it. It's always been like things that are gifted to me, or like old things. And maybe whenever I was young, I thought they were weird, but now it's like, it's very like, I hold it really close to my heart. Like it's kind of nostalgic for me. So I think I just grew up, around the rock and roll and around like the weird old trinkets and, things like that. And so I've just developed like this amazing passion for it. So yeah.
Yesterday, I visited your store with some Tennessee Tech students, and we looked at your raisin. You have What are the raisins?
So the California Raisin Men, they're like old Hardee's toys that they used to give out with your meal, and my dad used to gift me those for every single holiday. So I've just been collecting them since I can remember, and I try to always keep them in the store because I just think it's just a fun, weird thing. And those in like the old trolls are kind of like my favorite old characters, and Betty Boop too, because my grandfather also collected Betty Boop.
So I have a lot of little old statues in the studio at the house here. So I pre-record my radio show at my house. In my studio here at the house, I've got different like religious figurines, weird stuff that you would see like on an old lady's shelf. Like I've got these two little boys riding a bicycle, and I've got like Day of the Dead stuff and clowns, and I've got a monk. And unfortunately, these little figurines, the ones that aren't plastic, they fall. And this poor monk lost his arm.
Oh.
And I don't even know where the super glue is. Anyway, so did you ever like think of doing any other kind of small business? I mean, did you ever have a desire to work in beauty and hair? Did you ever want to do food retail, or did you always kind of know that you wanted to turn this hobby into your career?
I mean, I've had other ideas over the years, but I think that this is really what I want to be doing. It's kind of like a fun and funky thing, which I think Cookeville it's such like a funky artsy town. So kind of with what I do now, there's really no rules. I just get to have fun with it. So I think the freedom to be authentic and bring in some soul and some creativity is why I chose to do this.
I've worked sometimes with mental health counselors and with what they call spiritual directors, which is just a mental health counselor that helps you with your relationship to the universe or whatever. And I've always been taken aback by all the professionals that do that for a living. They always are telling you, go for your passion. That whole thing, like follow your bliss. It sounds like a bumper sticker or a cliche, but they actually believe, like the highly trained mental health professionals really believe that that's the key to life.
Yeah,
And so I'm always telling my students to like go for the thing, like to don't be afraid to do the thing. I've met so many students over the years who major in something they hate because somebody told them that's what they were supposed to do. So I love that you're kind of following your bliss there, following your joy. My guest today on Teacher on the Radio, and this is a pre-recorded interview segment. We're actually broadcasting it on a video cast today on September the 23rd. It's going to air on the radio show on 88.5 FM. If you're listening next week, it's now Tuesday morning, September the 30th. I'm Andrew Smith. My guest is Brielle from University Vintage. Tell me something funny or weird or exciting. Like what are some of the challenges or the things you never expected about being a business owner in Cookeville? Like, is there something, yeah, I don't know, that like you would some advice you would give to your fellow young adults who are possibly going to be going into their own business?
Well, one thing that I can say is, 3-4 years ago, I was on the road driving around the country as a truck driver and just sort of like scheming this up in my head. And I kind of had reached a point where I didn't think I was ever going to be able to obtain this. So I was trying to actually make myself stop thinking about my desires and things that I wanted to do for myself so much. But I came back and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. And I just started throwing events on Spring Street, and the community support here is just insane. And because of it, everything just fell into place how it should. So I would just say, follow your passions, don't give up, because carving your own path is, in my opinion, it's the only way. I mean, I can't imagine doing anything else at this point. So,
Wait, you were driving like rigs, like semis?
yeah, yeah. I have my CDL.
Just something to do for cash money, y'all.
Yeah,
Let's get paid. I'm
yeah,
just trying to I'm not a big person. I'm a tiny dude, and Brielle's not Brielle's like a little pint sized human. So I'm just trying to look at thinking you'd be like hopping up in the big semi. So
yeah.
you're listening to Teacher on the Radio. We are a radio show podcast out of Cookeville, Tennessee. And I remember when I was in college up in Michigan, I lived in Detroit. We would always go to Ann Arbor, and like Ann Arbor as the college town had like the funky vintage clothing stores. And now, of course, you go to Nashville, there's like dozens of people trying to do what you're doing in Nashville, and they're doing it probably about asking twice as much for what you're getting for retail. So even y'all in Nashville need to head out to Cookeville, check out our new, we've got 2 new live music venues that have just opened. We've got Brielle's store that's open. Just a lot is happening in Cookeville. We're going to hear some music. By the way, today's playlist is entirely curated by University Vintage. I took a week off of picking the songs, and it's kind of an all-around classics, both pop and rock and funk and new wave from the 80s, 90s, and the zeros, curated by our guest Brielle, the owner and influencer who made University Vintage a happening place in Cookeville. We'll come back with a few more topics and questions for her this afternoon or this morning after some music here on Teacher on the Radio. Hey everyone, Brielle is still giving up some of her time. We're pre-recording this on a day that the store is not open, but I know she's gonna have a very, very, very busy week selling cool things to people. I'm wondering if there is something that influenced you in specific that like you were like, okay, so you were saying you were dreaming about this job driving in a truck and thinking, oh, I'm probably going to be stuck just working gigs, doing a gig economy, just working to live and not living to work, or living to work. How does that go again? Working to live instead of living, whatever. Anyway, not doing the thing that you really wanted to do. Was there other occasions in your life that you can look back on, maybe before or after the truck driving experience, where you kind of felt the hunger for this, or maybe an interaction with your parents or grandparents or other people in the vintage scene, or maybe a store you visited in another town, or just something else that gave you that drive or that extra lift to make this possible?
Yeah. My whole life, I mean, I've always like wanted to have my own space, whether it be like a restaurant, a retail store, whatever. I knew I wanted to do my own thing. I think one specific place that inspired me, I went to Asheville, and there's a really cool spot called Fleetwood's out there, and it's like a rock and roll wedding chapel, and they have like it's a vintage shop and a bar, and then they have the little wedding chapel in the back, and they do markets outside. And I think that seeing that, I was like, Cookeville needs something like this, because I'm here, my family's here, and I want to make it more fun for myself if I'm going to be here. So I feel like we have such an artsy community, and I think I just wanted to add something cool to it. But yeah, pretty much as long as
Did you say Asheville?
Yeah.
So that would be a town that you've gone to and you've seen, oh, they're doing all why can't we bring and Knoxville and I don't know, Atlanta. Yeah. So visiting cool places in other cities. So I'm just going to be totally real. I think I've already said this to you. I was kind of taken aback when you told me that you wanted that front room of your store. So the upstairs loft of the University Vintage building is kind of like an old office suite with just 3 main rooms. And the room where the cash register is and where your wonderful friend Brielle, or so now she's got several staff members so she can take time to do other aspects of running a business. So you might see some of her employees in there as well. But when you come in, you'll be greeted by one of the employees and you'll see the rock and roll room. When you told me that that's what you wanted the face, and you've got the cute neon sign in the window that includes rock and roll as well as clothing. So when I realized that this was something that you were like prioritizing, I kind of gathered that music has been just a huge part of your life all along and like fandom. So maybe tell me some of your experiences with either listening to music or going to see music or the rock and roll angle of some of these other stores you visited in other cities. Just like, how did you figure out that that the front room was going to be the music room when you got to the new space?
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I grew up just listening to old rock and roll with my mom and dad. Music is really special to me, and I think that Cookeville has needed to have like a good affordable vinyl spot for a long time. So I think it's really exciting to offer that here. I think, music is like one of the only things that we can all agree on. We all have that in common. Everybody loves music. If you don't, then I don't know what you're doing, but I think it's just really exciting, to see people walk in, and that's what they're walking into, is that rock and roll room, and just seeing the look on their faces and knowing like that everybody feels so connected to that. So having that be such a huge part of the store is really cool to me.
I remember you said that they're really, we were going to take full advantage of the space. So like both Trent and I, we have a couple of bins for digging up level and then lower level as well, just to maximize the amount of space that we have in there. And you said, I want the people who like to browse to feel like once they get there that they need to spend some time. You know, that
Yeah.
they're not, they won't be able to see everything in 1 second. If you're not crowded and they've got the time, they'll want to actually look through everything. I'm going to keep hustling for you, trying to find more vinyl. I know Trent has got a huge amount of inventory in his personal life that he's going to be slowly sharing with you as well. I know he's got another place he vends as well, as do I. So, what about this beautiful playlist? It's kind of got a little bit of everything. Some more well known, some less known. How would you say this playlist that you chose for us to listen to today on Teacher on the Radio? How does it reflect you? How does it reflect the store? Kind of what, yeah, by having, because you have good sound system in the store. It's piped all throughout the in all the, I remember walking into one of the other rooms and realizing you had a speaker in the other room. Like, so the music, the customers can hear music while they're browsing. So tell me about that. Like, how did you decide on, like, because this is a playlist that we might hear when we're shopping. This is one of the playlists that you actually use in the store. So tell us just a little bit about the playlist.
So honestly, it's just a bunch of my favorite songs. It's mostly old with some new, more modern songs sprinkled in there that kind of fit the vibe. It's really upbeat, which is kind of like what I kind of want to give off in the store while you're shopping. I want it to be fun and just upbeat vibe. So I really enjoyed making it. It's just songs that I really enjoy that I love to listen to.
So something that I always am shocked by with my young adults that I work with on a regular basis is that oftentimes I'll ask about an artist that I thought was kind of well known, and I'll see like blank faces, and it's always a little bit disappointing. But then they'll surprise me. And the surprise that happened yesterday. So again, I'm teaching on the radio, but I also have a day job here at Tennessee Tech. I'm an English instructor, and I teach the lower level English classes, not the upper level ones. So I'm seeing a lot of the freshmen and sophomores when they're still just kind of getting their land legs and their feet solid on the ground here in Cookeville. And so I had the English 1010 group in your store, and a Smiths song. It might be the Smiths song that we're going to hear today. And I guess the Smiths have gotten a second wind in the 21st century. A lot of people have continued to listen to them. But this one Smiths song came along, and I looked around, and this was with our second group, the less shy ones. They also, a couple of them started singing along, and they were also they were talking amongst themselves about the music that was playing all the entire time that we were in the store. So I was really taken aback to see that the music, and of course me being about the age of your mom and the age of Trent, like this is the music we grew up with too, and to see people. I guess you're millennial, right? You're still
Yeah, I was born in '95, so I think I'm a zillennial technically, but
you're a young millennial or an old Z anyway. But that people from your demographic rediscovering all this music is such an incredible thing. So we're hearing the Smiths, we're hearing the Cure, and so much more. Anything else? Any special events coming up, or any special sales, or any new things in the store you want us to know about?
I don't have any like events planned as of right this moment. I have some things that are working in my brain that once we kind of settle in a little bit more, that I'm going to be putting out there with flyers and stuff like that. But I will definitely have some sales coming up, and I'll be posting about that on my Instagram this week.
Oh yeah, what is your Instagram?
So it's at university_vintage_.
So at university, the word university underscore vintage underscore.
That's right. Yeah.
So my guest today is in Brielle. The name of the store is University Vintage. You literally, if you can find Soulcraft, you can find House of Thai, or you can find Vinny T's. It's kind of in between all of them, or Cookville Pizza is in between all of them. In the green building, second floor, there's a stairway at the back. It is not currently ADA accessible. There's no elevator. So please, able-bodied people, I'm sorry about that for the people that are not. That's just a thing, but be careful. I use the hand railing every time, and watch your step, because it's worth walking up them stairs to see all the coolness. And you'll see a beautiful banner that Brielle has on the side of the building, and there's a beautiful neon sign in the back window. Brielle, thanks so much for coming on Teacher on the Radio today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
And we're going to enjoy the rest of this wonderful playlist you made for us. And I'll see you over there at the store.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.